morning. We're here again at the Children of Autumn YouTube channel with a very special guest, Miss Heidi Schaefer. And Heidi Schaefer worked with us actually when she was a young girl. So she was one of the youngest team members. She was about 10 years old when she first joined our team. She was with us for at least a year, and she also brought her dad on board, which was absolutely amazing. And she's here today visiting us from Vancouver, so welcome. Hi. Heidi.
Thanks.
And I just really wanted to ask Heidi the most important question of all, really, is from working with Julianne, what she learned.
Okay, well, I think the biggest thing, because I had no exposure to autism before working with Jules, and I think the biggest thing that I took away from it was realizing how selective her impairment was, in that she was really, really intelligent in other aspects, more so than I am, or just the regular person on the street is. I remember a big moment that made me realize that was just her memory. Reading to her, you could read a book to her once, and the next time I would come over, she would have it completely memorized. She would read it back to me after having heard it once. Or, yeah, just how sometimes I think things went in without her reacting to it, and you would think that nothing was processing, she wasn't taking anything in, she wasn't responding at all, she would just kind of sit and blankly kind of stare. But yeah, I remember one time just kind of talking to her, making up like little skits or whatnot in front of her, and then maybe a week later she would just become so excited about what I had been talking about at the time, remembering every detail, and it was just such a wonderful thing to see how much she took in and appreciated it. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's a very important point. Thank you for sharing that, because I think it's really important for a lot of parents and caregivers. Sometimes you're not sure if things are actually going in, and especially if your child is nonverbal. But when they actually become verbal or find a way to communicate, you will be amazed at how much they have actually retained and how much they have learned. So that's awesome. Is there anything that, having worked with Julianne, you would say has affected your life today as an adult?
Well, I should say I'm actually hoping to go into a Master's of Neuropsychology next year, and hopefully become a neurologist.
Awesome.
And I think my experience with Jules kind of opened me up to that world. I actually worked with Jules kind of past that 1 year point as well, so probably up until the point I was about 16 or so. I worked with her on kind of a regular basis, every few months or so, babysitting for her, and it was just really nice to see all the progress that she was making after being away for those chunks of time. And I think that, along with working with a few other autistic children and a boy with Down syndrome, it really inspired me to kind of continue. It made me realize how much these kids can improve over time, and how much really is going on inside of their brains, more than we can just see from a one-off basis on the street. And it made me appreciate that a lot, and want to pursue a career where I can interact more with people who have these sorts of conditions.
Awesome. Well, I'm sure you'll be an amazing neurologist.
Thank you.
And we thank you so much for coming today, Heidi, and all the best to you.
Thanks so much for having me.
Many blessings to you out there, and keep the faith, folks.